It was brought up that shared governance is law in the FA, and some of the, what I've read in your what's been distributed is that the FA holds that the student calendar has been illegally approved. And my question is, has there been any part of shared governance that went into the drafting, the acceptance, and the approval of this student calendar?
Not to my knowledge.
Just that brief sentence a few years ago about when they first wanted the winter to go away. That's the only thing that was ever discussed. And we didn't pick that, we didn't say that, we just said we could move spring if need be, but that was not our purview, that was not what we were trying to do.
Right, it sounds like that does not include the recognition of faculty authority, nor inclusiveness of the faculty, or this body in particular.
Yeah.
All I remember is that he did come, President did come and talk about it, but no discussion, no vote was taken. Because nobody would have agreed without consulting the rest of the campus.
So again, does this reflect any shared governance at all?
No.
Okay.
If I could quick, I want to read something. I'm not giving an opinion as chair. I just want to read something that there's a memorandum signed. If I could go, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay. This, ladies and gentlemen, I'm reading from a document which is dated June 21st, 2011, and is addressed to Dr. Mark Rocha from Dr. Stuart Wilcox, who at that time was the interim vice president of Student Learning Services, not the lead co-chair of the committee.
I wasn't on the committee.
Okay, so he
was
was co-chair at that time. Okay. So let me read this quickly, just so it's in Calicut, I think it gets to your question. It's Dr. Rocha from Dr. Wilcox regarding the college calendar. Attach your college calendars for the 2011-2012 and 2012-2013 years. There are two versions of for each of the 2 years. One version includes a winter term, and the other version of each calendar has no winter term. There are two versions of each calendar because at the time the calendar committee was meeting, the college was actively discussing whether or not the college would continue to have a winter intersession. Therefore, the calendar committee worked out the semester beginning and ending dates for calendars with and without a winter intersession so that the college would have the calendars regardless of where the discussion settled. The 2011-2012 calendar, and that precedes the action of the committee of last year. The 2011-2012 calendar that includes a winter intersession has been distributed throughout the college. This was necessary because many officers need lead time to plan their courses, and that the calendar was approved by the Board of Trustees a year ago. End quote. It's not to disqualify anything that members have said. It's just that this is something I want to see.
Right, but none of that speaks to the 13-14 calendar.
That speaks to a recommended calendar that the committee of 10-11, they recommended a 11-12 calendar and a 12-13 calendar, but just as everyone said, they were just recommending calendars. This committee took no formal action.
We didn't recommend calendars. The president came and asked us about, he didn't want winter. And what was asked of us was if spring was moved, what day would it start? We didn't approve the calendar. We didn't.
None of that applies to next year.
And I think my feeling was that if a winter was going to be not attached, but there was going to be a change in winter, that there would be a discussion about it and a survey or a vote or something to all my constituents and to the FA and to everybody else. I never imagined in my life that a winter would just move without anybody being told. I mean, we said okay to going to the 7th if it was moved, but we'd have to go through a whole rigmarole to get it removed. And we didn't go through any of that, it just got removed. Now, I'm not saying yes or no, I just think that the shared governance was not followed.
So make sure we get it. We'll go to Simon and then Harlan in there. So, Simon, go.
I'm glad that you brought up AB 1725 because I'm not sure a lot of people even realize that the students are specifically mentioned as being part of the AB 1725 process. Students sit on these committees by rule of law as well. We have the 9+1 areas of responsibility, or as I like to call them, 10, because I'm a maths major. So, the shared governance process as far as winter 2012 from the perspective of associated students would be that last year we tried to bring it up to the calendar committee to discuss on the merits. We tried to make that charge of the college council. It was indicated to us that because this was a collective bargaining issue, that would not be an appropriate venue. That the shared governance committee for calendars to discuss the specifics and merits of the calendar was not appropriate to come to the calendar committee where students sit, because it was a collective bargaining agreement between the faculty association and the district. So imagine my surprise when suddenly there's a student calendar and students haven't been really consulted. If I argue anything is under the 9+1 responsibilities of students in shared governance, it is a student calendar more than anything else. So our attempts to put this through the shared governance process failed. I did have some conversations with Dr. Bell and President Rocher at various different times. I outlined my concerns very clearly. But the shared governance aspect of this happened across Board of Trustees tables during the summer. Where I was able to represent was at the shared governance table at the Board of Trustees, and of course those are incredibly limited venues to discuss to the Board of Trustees anything from those seats along the side tables. As everyone who sat there will know, it's very difficult and oftentimes pointless. So I'm very disheartened with the shared governance process at PCC from the point of view of students. I do not believe we've been properly included, properly noticed, and given a proper weight across shared governance at this campus. I'm looking to change that. However, that requires that everyone here respect the role of students within the shared governance process. I know that is a difficult proposition because we are so transitory. Our terms are only 1 year. We come in, we learn, then suddenly we're leaving again. I recognize that. Please take the opportunity to teach your student representatives, because you all have stakes in this. You have lives, jobs. You give your heart and soul to this college. And for the faculty and the staff, we appreciate that greatly. The students are putting in a year, 2 years, 3 years. But what they're getting out of it is the rest of their lives. So we have as much of a say and as much of a stake in how this college operates as anyone else. To that end, the associated students will not be signing off, and has not signed off on a calendar, and will not be signing off on any calendar until the proposal is directly taken to the Associated Students Executive Board. When the 5 members of this committee say that this committee is ready with a proposal, I'm sure it will go to the Academic Senate for a sign-off on any calendar. However, the Associated Students reps on this committee will not vote in favor of any recommendation until it has been presented to the Executive Board. And as a group, as a constituent body, we have determined that this is a calendar proposal that we would like. I will very specifically outline, no, I will wait because that's the second item. So that's my view on shared governance right now.
I'd also like to say that I think what's happening here today is a lot larger than whether or not spring semester starts January 7th or February 19th or whatever it is. I've said this before, and I'll just say it again, that I think that if the administration had a very sincere interest in participating in shared governance and listening to shared governance, the discussion you're having right now would be about 13-14 instead of 12-13. And you have to listen to that, and actions speak a lot louder than words, and you have to really pay attention to that.
I was on the calendar committee when this disputed calendar was being discussed, and I have to reiterate and state and confirm and concur with what Glenn and Harold said, that in the December meeting, Dr. Rocha came and made a very strong case against the winter intersession. He didn't like the schedule, and so we basically were told to draft. I think at that point we even had 3 different calendars that were drafted. Then the next meeting was in January, where we still had a winter intersession. There wasn't that much faculty representation, and so this was one of the drafts that we sent on to be considered in case there would not be a winter intersession. I feel a lot of disappointment, frustration, and resentment that this particular action has been misrepresented as saying that we, the calendar, recommended this particular calendar. And I know we have stated again and again that this is not the purview of this committee, but it has been stated over and over that we supported that. And it was just a response to the president's request and then to the chair's request that we better come up with the calendar that satisfies these conditions. That's what I wanted to state.
I just want to add that the 3 people that were actually at that meeting, the minutes actually support what they are saying, because if you read, before there was actually a vote, because the president came in and basically said, if we don't have winter intercession, when would you start spring? So the minutes actually record that. They were in the board packet of 8/29. So you can go back and read those.
Anything further? Shared governance?
Well, having heard all this, I'm just wondering, as a member of the public here, what are you guys going to do about this? Because the president is going on record and misrepresenting, and I call it just lying, outright lying, about that you guys have approved this, and you told the board, you told the public that this has been approved.
Krista repeatedly at board meetings has said the same thing.
I stood up at the first board meeting that this came up and said we had nothing to do with that.
Everybody knows, but now what are you going to do?
Well, the implications for this are what we do from this moment on, because what we do in here has been misrepresented to the college and to the board. The board is under a very different impression about what the committee has done and about the sentiment on this campus. Very difficult to get through to them. I mean, you can stand right in front of them and look them right in the eye and tell them, and they still don't seem to respond.
So with what she said and what you're saying about what you're willing to do, what steps, I mean, the foreseeable destination of what's happening here is, what are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go if your words are falling deaf ears? And, you know, this, I mean, to me, this kind of seems like this is an issue where this might sound a little bit extreme, but the administration might need, you know, I don't need to get booted. I am not very professional.
I don't take it personally. Go for it.
Are you guys willing, if in the case that all you guys go through all the necessary procedures and everything is done professionally, is that something that in the public's best interest and in the faculty's best interest, if our needs aren't acknowledged by the Board of Trustees, are you willing to stand with us in the event that we feel like, you know, because I feel like it's either the school or it's what the school wants or the Board of Trustees wants, and in that event that the Board of Trustees says it's our way or the highway, are you willing to stand with us and, you know?
Well, keeping in mind that the Board of Trustees are very misinformed.
I just remember when we went to the winter, there was a huge debate when we did do winter. I mean, the classified were pretty much against having a winter intercession. There was a problem with F1 visa students. I guess that's all been worked out, but we had a year to fix it, to work it out.
But we discussed it.
But we
Bob
discussed
Bowden,
it.
if we go back and see how long ago it was,
Yeah.
was AS president at that time, because I remember in a particular meeting up in Terrace Room when he and Phil were there. But we discussed it for years. Then there was a campus vote, and then there was a year of transition to bring it all in, so there was everything went smoothly and it happened. It wasn't sudden.
The board, and I'm going to be quite frank here, the board is digging in their heels because they're angry with the faculty, and I think we all know that. They don't want, they feel that the rumors go around that the faculty are upset because they had vacation plans. And I remember when we went to the winter in the first place, it was because somebody wanted vacation plans. And I think we really need to be careful when we're talking about our needs that they don't impose our personal type of things, because that's what the board hears.
Yeah.
And then how do you argue with that? I mean, I remember somebody wanted to go skiing during the winter, so we had to have, you know, a winter intercession. And we really need to stick together and have the right responses and say the right things about our intent and our needs. Because you know, when the board members hear that, then they go, oh well, forget them, you know, that sort of thing, and it starts to get to be a cat fight between all of us, and it's just not professional.
Well, a last item to that, top to bottom, bottom sideways, the only reason any of us are here are our employed students.
Sure. Well, is there anything we can do as a body to start the shared governance process or attempt a shared governance process for the current year's calendar that had already been approved?
Well, we're doing it right now. It's been brought up that we moved to maintain the 12-13 calendar that we approved.
Are we onto
Proposed
that item?
tentative calendar with
Are we onto
something
that
like
item on the
motion.
agenda now?
Well, we may be there, but I want to recognize me signing one final comment before we get to
Yes, since you're all about to move into the tentative student calendar item, I think that's a great direction for you. But on as far as what this committee can do, there's not much this committee can do, and this is not except register how you feel. The Board of Trustees has made a decision. They could revisit it. It is likely. I'm going to be quite honest, and I'm going to say no, it's not likely. I don't think that they are going to revisit this decision. I think that the way that the board items clearly worded indicates that they will move forward. I do disagree, as I'll explain when we get there. But my worry is that my hope is that the shared governance committees, we all have to express the anger and the frustration that we each felt. I think that's good, and I had my opportunity to do it as well. And you guys are coming back into this a little late. I mean, it's the middle of September already, and shared governance is now getting started. So what I think the best thing the calendar committee can do would be to either, if they really want to continue to push to keep the winter into session, or to postpone it, work on a proposal for that, or work on 2013-14. Either way, moving forward with something, with an action that can do something different or the same, rather than I would hate for the only action of the calendar committee to be that we weren't heard and we're angry about it. What I hope that this committee can do is decide to move forward with something that the Board of Trustees, if it got up there, could act upon in either direction or any direction. And I think that will help keep shared governance operating, is by continuing to do the work.
Two more comments for the interest of time.
Really quick. What would be the point of moving forward already when your decision making hasn't even heard for the last one?
I agree.
We can be on record with what the committee's decision is.
Isn't it already on record?
We can reaffirm what's on record. And I actually moved that we reaffirm our committee's approval of the calendar that includes winter, fully knowing that the administration may turn around and say, fine, we'll give you a winter, but offer no classes during that session.
Which will be devastating to the classified.
It will be devastating to the students too, because it will take away the 6 weeks opportunity to have
So
these.
that motion. So let's rehear the motion.
Okay, I move that this committee reaffirms our approval of the 2013 calendar with the winter session that have gone through the shared governance process.
Okay. Is there a second on that motion? Second. Okay. So it's been moved and second. Now discuss. Okay.
No, I mean, if they cancel winter, then all of us are open. You know, if they have a winter with no classes, that doesn't help anybody.
No, it doesn't, and it takes away the opportunity that the students would have should we have 2 summer sessions that are 6 weeks long.
Yeah.
There would only be
Like
3
we used
opportunities
to.
to take classes this year instead of 4, but we'd be, at least as a committee, be on record
Yeah.
with what our
Yeah,
recommendation is.
You really don't know what the future holds. I mean, Prop 30 is a large vote. The college, the numbers are out there, $6.7 million. If we get Prop 30 passed, that's equivalent to about 1,220 classes. Our largest winter session had a little over 500 classes. I think we had just 270 this last winter. So Prop 30 solves a lot of problems. Of course, the money from Prop 30 comes in around June. But this college has 22% reserves. It can easily cover that contingency. It can easily move money from reserves, cover that $6.7 million, and get it back from the state. So there are a lot of contingencies that could play out here. It would be very, very positive and help resolve some of the issues you're raising.
May I just say that if there is that blank space where winter session used to be, the students can rally around that. If we still have the calendar in that way, then the students can mobilize and we can maybe fight to get that, because it's also about a show of power. Like, I know especially for staff too, they've also been doing things to you guys, like giving people less hours and then bringing in like non-unionized part-timers to come work as well. So I know that like if we end up with that empty space, it would be bad for the staff, but if we can all organize and mobilize together, then maybe, and show power, that could be better for everyone in the long run, and we can all work together to help the staff and like mobilize around other things that they've been doing to you folks as well.
And as our beating the door very briefly, I think we should be prepared for the contingency that no matter what we do, we're going to have a semester that starts on January 7th, and it's going to be called spring. So
Okay, we're gonna need to move quickly, ladies and gentlemen, because we have, so we have a motion on the table which has been moved and seconded. We've had discussion, and does everyone understand the motion? It's just committee members, obviously. Does everyone understand the motion on which we're about to take vote? Okay, so, all those in favor? And let's do it by hand. Opposed? So, I didn't get the exact count, Pat, but the motion passed. No, that's right, the motion passed. The motion passed. Real quickly, time.
On the tentative 2012-13 calendar, if I could take a picture. One of the big concerns that I have with it is, besides the fact we have no idea what's going on with summer, if you look at Korea, Dr. Bell, something you said is going diametrically opposed to what the advertisement that's running in the Korea is. And it's on the same page.
Yeah, and that's
very interesting.
Okay,
But my request, or what I think that you should consider if you do this, which I don't think you should, is that January 7th as the start date for spring is a little early. My recommendation would be pushing it to the 14th. At least, for several reasons. One, that gives faculty and staff the opportunity to prepare their classes and laboratories. Two, it will allow students to have that week after, doing their New Year's celebrations, to take the time to go to the bookstore, get their books, get their student services done, and it would basically be a sort of a prime week before the actual classes started. Especially for students who will still be coming in last minute, unaware that this calendar has changed and suddenly be freaking out. So that's my recommendation. Well, my recommendation is not to change it at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know in the interest of time, I appreciate everyone being here. I would say as an individual, not as a co-chair. I appreciate the discussion, the valuable discussion. I think everyone's opinions. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And seconded. I don't think we have to vote.